Hey, what are you doing here? Okay, no, I'm glad you stopped by. You see, here at the Chad and Cheese podcast, Joel and I, we wanted to give you guys something special because you're the ones who make this, right? Listeners, our viewers, people who engage with our stuff, and it's the holiday season, so we're bringing you the 10 top topics for the year with some amazing speakers and just a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, we're kind of enjoying the holidays too. So again, you make the Chad and Cheese podcast, and we really appreciate it. We love you guys. If you haven't signed up for free stuff, chadcheese.com/free t-shirts, booze. I mean, we'd like to send our people stuff, right? So anyway, thanks so much from Chad. The cheese probably in Manhattan doing some, Christmas stuff or something. But anyway, thanks from the Algarve. We love you and have a wonderful holiday season. We will see you on the flip side.
The narrative of recruiting is going away or recruiters are being replaced. It's interesting to note that I didn't hear you say that any recruiters were let go in that process. But I'm curious from your perspective, will the skill set of a recruiter in the future at GM look different, and what is that difference going to look like?
Absolutely will look different. Historically, our recruiters, and they're fantastic, but their job was primarily posting and praying. I mean, that's what it was for a really long time. What it will be tomorrow and how it's starting to transform is we've added a significant number of recruiters that come with very specific technical recruiting experience from some big name competitors that I will not name. And they're not only on the hook for help bringing that talent in, but also helping to educate our OG recruiters on here's how you sell to a tech candidate, right? Because the sell is different.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily care about that we shut down in July and you maybe have a week off. They want to know that they can work flexibly and that they have cool tools and the technology is modern, and those are the things that attract them. And so it's how do you sell differently? And so that the role of the recruiter absolutely is changing. Again, I'm going to throw another cliche out there. They are now becoming talent advisors, right? They're advising managers, hiring managers and leaders on what's in the market. They're leveraging data that we have to say, hey, you're looking for this purple squirrel with pink polka dots, but guess what? There's 5 of them in the whole country. Yeah. So let's talk about if we just took the polka dots away, how much does that increase your pipeline, and can we train for those polka dots? And those are the conversations that the recruiters are starting to have, and that will continue to evolve because we can't keep doing what we did yesterday if we want to succeed tomorrow. Yeah.
So we had Kevin Wheeler, a futurist, on the podcast a few months ago.
Chad likes to name names, if you didn't know that about him.
It's out there. It's out there.
It is out there.
It's out there on chadcheese.com. Anyway, so he had actually said that he sees recruiters going away in the very near future because this technology is so damn good. So where do you sit when it comes to, recruiters just being flushed, being a recruiter yourself at one time, being flushed out of the entire process?
Yeah, I think it's easy to see that recruiting as it's done today, there'll be less of it, and it'll be different.
Okay, so what do you mean by done today?
Yeah, so I think there are 2 types of jobs in the future for talent acquisition. There are going to be people that design processes and orchestrate automation and set up systems and that maybe serve as air traffic control, and they design how these things work. And there's going to be a second group of people that are on the phone, talking to candidates, meeting with people in coffee shops, and they are convincing them to join. And they are the real recruiters of our industry. And I think what's gone are people that wish they were doing that, but are working in their applicant tracking system, clicking buttons all day, wishing they were talking to candidates.
Yeah.
So that version of recruiting, I think, does go away. And I think we end up in this path, and what will drive that is competition. So for a long time, people thought technology would replace things, right? Back to the ATM machine.
Right.
Well, ATM is going to take the job of every bank teller. Guess what? There are more ATMs in the next 20 years after that. I'm sorry, there are more bank tellers in the next 20 years than ever before, because you could run a bank more cheaply and have more bank branches. And so competition will make that work. So just like we will still have salespeople, the ability to go get the best talent, to go convince people to join, will absolutely make recruiting as important or more important in the future to get the best people. But it will look different. A lot of the administrative stuff will go away. There'll be system designers, technologists that do that, and there are people that really, really recruit.
I think this is like the story of time, right? Technology always has done both, right? It's taken some jobs and it's created a lot of new jobs. So I think we'll just see more of that. And our CEO, Adam, talks about that the future of recruiting is really going to be two types of jobs. One that's kind of the convince, connect role, and one that's the experience design. And we've really been operating like that for a while now at Paradox on our talent acquisition team. And so, I do think that's the way where we've got a team of recruiters that spend their time talking to candidates, understanding what they care about, building a relationship, building trust, and spending time coaching our hiring managers, partnering with them to really understand deeply their needs and the market and who's a great fit, and providing that information. And then we have a team that really thinks about, okay, how do we use our technology and tools to create a better experience for our candidates, for our recruiters, for our hiring managers, for everybody who's involved. So, we're fortunate that we get to do that, and we're just always thinking about how do we continue to double down in those two areas. And but I really think that's where we're headed.
Joel, that's AI putting the human back in HR.
At Shaker Recruitment Marketing, our comprehensive services include branding, talent attraction, MarTech, and analytics, empowering you to achieve your recruitment marketing goals. We believe in doing things the right way, delivering the right message through the right activation, achieving the right conversion. For us, business is deeply personal. Our legacy is built on relationships. Together with our people, clients, and partners, we've been shaping the world of talent for over 70 years.
We branded our program as Refer CX, and it's a mobile app.
Oh, that's awesome.
They could go right on their phones, and that was part of what Aaron offered us when we decided to go with Aaron as our vendor.
Yourself. Oh, that's awesome.
Branding
that's
it for the company, making them feel like they're a part of something company-wide. It's on their phone. They could click in there and make a referral from anywhere. If they're standing in Starbucks and they're talking to somebody in line and they think they're a great fit for our company, send them a referral notice, talk them into, applying. It's a great way to, have people get excited about their job and their company. So something I'd love to throw out there that isn't, everybody's looking for the money savings, the time savings, all of that. But what we found is the company culture, and what it added to our company culture is really exciting as well. Since we set up our referral program with Aaron, we've won 5 Great Place to Work badges this past year.
Wow.
And I think that has to have something to do with it.
I imagine it does.
Hell yeah.
They feel rewarded. They feel, excited about the company.
Talk about the branding, employment branding perspective. How has the changes in the business changed the brand, or has it? Are you all in on what you're doing now, or are you steadfast on we're Sweet Green? It feels like a Patagonia type brand that you stay the course. What is it? What is the new technology meant to the brand?
It's actually an exercise that we're kicking off next year. We want to go through a full EVP. We realize that as a company, we're growing, we're maturing. We've just brought in a lot of new folks to the C-suite, and the company's changing. The pace at which we want to grow is we're really kind of on that trajectory that we've always wanted to be in. I think our brand is, and I don't know where it's going to land, but I have a feeling that it's going to land in, we are kind of a future first company. And if you want somewhere to grow, you can go from a team member to a general manager or a head coach, as we call it in Sweet Green, in 3 years. But then what does that trajectory look like beyond that? And that's what we're starting to figure out now. Our investment into succession planning is really going to be the next future. We want to get to the 60-70% internal growth, promotion growth. So I'm not exactly sure where it's going to land yet. We still have a lot of research. We want to differentiate. We don't want to be another Chipotle.
But Chad and I have been talking about the death of DEI and companies abandoning it and the Supreme Court. And so it's a complex issue. But this week alone, Molson Coors said that they plan to cut supplier diversity quotas and DEI-based training programs, as well as sever ties with the Corporate Equality Index of the LGBTQ plus advocacy group Human Rights Campaign. But wait, there's more. Ford Motor Company also joined in. This joins the likes of Harley Davidson, Lowe's, and John Deere, who are scaling back diversity, equity, inclusion efforts. JT, what are your thoughts? And specifically, what are job seekers' opinions of what companies are doing here?
No, and you've talked about it here before. This seems to be so reflective of a market, right? When the market starts to contract and businesses are really looking at the bottom line, it gets really easy for them to say this just isn't necessary. And we've seen this before. We know it. Here's my silver lining. Here's what I truly believe as someone who works with so many job seekers and a lot of Gen Z. They were raised to look for inclusiveness. Mm-hmm. They've been exposed to this, talked about it, want to see it, question when it's not there. And I just have to believe and want to believe that as they become the next generation of managers and business owners, that'll just be organic to them. In the same way that all the women that I know will now immediately look and say, is there a female on the board? What's the female leadership look like? We took a long time for us as women to pay attention to that and to call it out. And I think that these generations are going to call out that diversity. I hope. Right. And I certainly am going to nurture that every step of the way. It's a big part of what we coach too. So hopefully that'll help on the back end.
As the winds change, companies use that as an opportunity to retract. And I know there's pressure in the market, and I know I am very protective and very covetous of my brand. I built it. It's my baby. I understand. But it's sheer weakness to see these Fortune 100, Fortune 1000 brands pull back because they're scared of a little political change. You're in or you're out, right? And it's okay if you're out. Just be who you are. Don't try to pretend that you're into DEI. Don't try to pretend that, now you're not into DEI because the political winds change. Like, be true to who your organization and your culture are, because it's whiplash for the job seeker, and it's this fake hope that companies give, that fake illusion of hope that we're finally going to get pay right, that we're finally going to build our pipeline so that it's Black, brown, LGBTQ, and disabled, and then you just pull the sheet right out from under our feet again, and we start over.
Give me your take on the current state of DEI.
Yeah.
A few years ago, it was like, yes, that's a good thing. Let's do it. It became politicized, weaponized.
Sure.
Companies stepped back, didn't want to touch it.
Yeah.
What's the current state of that issue?
Yeah. So I think we're at a point where DEI is now going through its own rebranding. And if you're a student of this space, you know that for the past 60 years, there's been a series of progressions and regressions. It's just a natural ebb and flow. When you start making progress, people will pull it back. But the key is you're incrementally moving forward. I think we're at a point right now where we're being honest about what can change, what people are willing to change, and then what can we do within that construct? What are we doing within the context of employer brand and recruitment marketing? How honest are we going to be about our culture? What are we going to do as a company as far as what we're donating to or not anymore? And some companies have made headlines for pulling their commitments back all the way.
Yeah.
Based on pressures from activist investors, perceived risk for their consumer bases, whatever the case may be. The challenge is that the issues for the people who are most marginalized didn't go away because a company rolled back its commitments. So they're going to have to contend with it in some way.
Google CEO revealed this week that AI systems now generate more than a quarter, that's 25% for those of you at home that don't know what a quarter is, of new code for its products with human programmers overseeing the computer-generated contributions. Does that mean current AI models are capable of generating flawless, high-quality code that developers can just insert and forget? Likely not. But does it mean fewer employees needed for said coding? What say you, Emmy? 25% of all new code out of Google now is automated. Should programmers be worried?
Oh, should they be worried? I would still say no, going back to the fact that it helps to increase productivity. It helps to speed up the process, but it won't replace a human. So I don't think I don't think tech people need to be necessarily worried in the terms of like their roles going, but I do think that there will be an increasing need for those, people within the tech world to upskill themselves. They're going to have to develop new skills to stay competitive in the marketplace. Yep. Roles are changing. So whether you're on product management, UX design, even customer education, all of those roles are still going to have to need a higher level of understanding of AI functionalities, particularly because their clients and customers are becoming more savvy around AI as well.
60% of the time, it works every time.
I'm less optimistic. Maybe Lieven can talk a little bit about Europe and some of the challenges that Germany and a lot of the continent is facing. Personio is a German company. A lot of their initial clients were in Germany. They are trying to grow here in the U.S., which we've talked about. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, we're going to talk about this a lot. We're going to talk a lot about, especially public companies, headcount reduction, stock price goes up, boats and hoes, rinse and repeat. And it's going to be a theme that we talk about quite a bit on this show. Lieven, what are your thoughts?
The whole Personio thing, if people are talking about efficiency, I always wonder how is indeed AI going to impact that? And he didn't mention people are being replaced by AI, but if you read between the lines, it's kind of something like that. British Telecom, they were very clear about it. They fired 5,000 people and they said we were going to replace those people by AI. There were like first line help desk people, etc. So this is going to be a constant in the near future, I think.
Worryingly, I'm seeing more and more organizations, especially the bigger ones, sending a not so subtle message to their employees. That message is get back to the office or wave goodbye to your promotion. Now, here's the thing. Despite all the data that's supporting flexible working arrangements, I can't shake the feeling that if we're not careful, these return to office mandates might become the norm rather than an exception. So why is this happening? Well, companies are throwing out all kinds of reasons, from better collaboration to improved connectivity and an environment where employees can actually grow their skills more easily. But is that actually the truth? Now, I like to think it's what I call executive nostalgia. So this is where senior leaders, they yearn for the good old days of water cooler chats. And maybe they're reminiscing about how they built their internal networks and rose through the ranks because of this. But times have changed. If these execs want their organizations to keep succeeding, it's not their employees who need to conform. It's actually the leadership who need to change. They need to change their mindset. They need to upskill themselves so they now know how to lead a flexible workforce. And why do they need to change? Well, first of all, there isn't enough data out there that shows that in-office work leads to better outcomes. In fact, there's loads of data showing that it aren't even leading to higher profits. And there's also plenty of data showing that forcing employees back to the office can have a detrimental impact and can actually hurt productivity, morale, retention. So who is it impacting the most? Well, carers get hit hard. Not everyone has the help to juggle caregiving responsibilities. So if you force them back into the office, this just adds unnecessary strain. Introverts struggle. Crowded office spaces, they just aren't energizing for everyone. For some, they're actually really draining. Neurodivergent employees lose out. So many neurodivergents thrive in environments where they can manage their own time in a quiet space, and work from home setups often enables their best work. Then you've got people with disabilities. Accessibility in a home setup can sometimes be far better than navigating a commute to the office, and an office that, even if they go to, might not even fully accommodate their needs. And then you've got that commute themselves. Those people who live far away from the office, that return to office mandate isn't just inconvenient, it's actually exhausting and wasteful. So if organizations know all of this, why are they doing it? What's the point? I mean, surely they're not that stupid, are they? Well, if you ask loads of employees, that answer is clear. It's a lack of trust. Some leaders just don't trust their teams to be productive if they can't physically see them. And here's the reality. Most of the time, people are commuting to sit at a desk, throw in their headphones and do exactly the same work that they would be doing if they were at home. So, make it make sense. And let's not gloss over the fact of what some people are actually quietly thinking. Some people believe that a few organizations are using return to office mandates as a sneaky way to reduce headcount. And that's called quiet firing, forcing people out the door without having to physically fire them. But if they keep doing this, if they keep eroding trust, these organizations are just going to be running on borrowed time. So here's my message to those drive turkey companies out there who are enforcing return to office mandates. Fix up. Get better, listen to employees, change with the times, build trust, let go of all these outdated models of what work looks like and focus on what actually matters, the results.
A new survey by Blind shows that 73% of Amazon employees are considering leaving due to the new 5-day workweek policy starting in January of 25, highlighting significant dissatisfaction and potential turnover, especially among senior staff. Another 80% said they know someone who is already looking for another job because of the new policy, while 32% said they know someone who has quit because of it. Chad, shit's getting deep at Amazon. What are your thoughts on these numbers in this poll from Blind?
Well, there's definitely some reports saying that this is literally just trying to push people out, so this is kind of like a forced layoff without having to pay the severance. But if that's the case, do you think Amazon thought nearly 75% of staff would eject? I don't think so. So Amazon's woes, where they are burning through entire populations of warehouse workers and are also losing billions of dollars in revenue because they don't have the people in the warehouses to do the job, will now be shifting over into the Amazon office space. Amazon is really good at technology. What they're really bad at is people and being human. And this could shock Amazon very quickly.
Yeah. So, when Trump won the election in 2016 and probably 75% of Democrats at least said they're moving to Canada if Trump gets elected. This reminds me of that. Of course, the number of people that actually did move to Canada was probably in single digits. A lot of people were just venting. A lot of people were mad, which is what they do on Blind, by the way. They vent. It's kind of anonymous, like I can talk shit. I don't think we're anywhere near 70% of Amazon losing that many people. It does show dissatisfaction with we don't want to go back to the way it was, and they are going to lose people for it. Maybe they can pick up all the OpenAI people that are leaving the executive suite over there. But yeah, Amazon has an issue. They want to automate as quickly as possible. The C-suite being disgruntled. Maybe it is partly they want to get rid of people because they're getting rid of people anyway with automation and robotics, and maybe this is part of that strategy. I don't know, but shit's kind of weird at Amazon right now.
So you posted a new job ad. Now you can sit back and wait for the applications to roll in, right? That's why we built JobPixel. Imagine showing candidates why your company is great with real people, real stories, and real culture. With JobPixel, it's not just another job ad. It's an invitation to something much bigger.
Video gives you a 3 times better response rate. So instead of chasing after candidates, they'll be coming to you.
And with a 34% boost in conversions, candidates aren't just looking, they're applying.
And if you're worried about people clicking away, don't be. Our videos reduce bounce rates by 25%. that means they're watching, they're engaged, and they're interested.
282% more engagement. Yeah, you're going to need a bigger inbox.
Finding the right candidate is tough, but with JobPixel, it doesn't have to be. Show your company's authentic story, and the candidates will follow.
Let's make recruiting fun again, because honestly, it could use some help.
Do you want to see how JobPixel can save you time and money while achieving your KPIs? Schedule a demo today.
Immigration has been politicized. We don't hear a lot from companies about the impact on immigration, the importance of new workers coming into the country. What are your thoughts on immigration as a whole and how it impacts UPS?
I'd really like it as they brought people in, if they would give them eligibility to work easier and faster.
Yes.
Because we're an E-Verify company, everything gets tracked.
Yeah.
I can't hire a lot of the folks that I want to. We wanted to get involved in the Afghan piece when that came in a few years ago when that started.
Yeah.
But they weren't eligible to work right away, and it was hard to get them on board. It was
Right.
it was a chore.
Right. Yeah.
So I think when we do these things as a country, we should be able to get these people jobs if they want them.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, if someone wants to work here and earn here and pay taxes here, God bless you, let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the amount of talent that we need, again, I'm an X. You guys are X's, I think, too.
Yeah.
We don't have enough baby boomers for these jobs. I wish they would all retire. That's just my personal.
And get the hell out.
and make more opportunity for some other folks.
Yes.
But we do have. We're not like Europe yet, where we have negative growth.
Yeah.
But we're slowing down. So we need to bring in people who want to take, quite honestly, some of the lower end jobs.
Sure.
Yeah.
But build themselves up.
Yes.
And again, we have a country that can do that for them.
Yeah.
Let it work that way. Give them the opportunity to work, earn a living, and create a family.
When you talk about population collapse and immigration, part of closing the border is those folks become a drain on the system. They become either welfare recipients or government responsibilities. Are you outlining a future where can we train people so quickly that an immigrant can come in and within 6 months, a year, be a high-skilled laborer? And is that part of the solution? Should we open the borders and just educate them much more quickly because we have these systems, or do you think we're going to continue in this doom spiral of no immigration, aging population? Is this technology part of the solution?
Yeah, I think there's a need for nuance. So first of all, as the son of migrants, this whole putting all migrants in the same box, there are different kinds of migrants. If a migrant comes from a village somewhere and comes straight to the UK, that might be a drain on our finances. It might be a humanitarian thing to do, but there's a lot of investment you need to put into them and their family. But you've also got migrants from other parts of the world who are amazing. They could be doctors, they could be filling all kinds of roles that we can't ever hope to fill. And I think the way we do this sensitively is kind of go, well, for everyone we bring in to do that, we've got to train a local person. Because often in the same town where we send the migrant, so that the impact on the local population isn't going to be, oh, they're taking all our jobs. No, you're benefiting because we're going to train you both in AI and in future in the robotic AI, by the way, because a lot of these jobs are fruit picking as well. They're, carers. There's going to be a shift as well, I think, in future where you're going to have automation in those physical roles as well. And so it's going to be a really interesting world. And, some of the best paid work is going to be how you design that to work in those environments, to both be doing the work, making sandwiches, and then figuring out how the robot can also make sandwiches. I was actually working on a project where they were trying to figure out how to get robots to make sandwiches.
Sandwiches and sausages, making me very
and guess this is the really funny thing. Guess the thing they couldn't get the robot to do, which they haven't cracked, which is they can get the robot to butter the sandwich and do this to the sandwich, but when you pick up the chicken, you need to or ham, you need to distribute it on the sandwich really quickly. And they found that the human workers could feel with their hands the exact right proportion of chicken to put down much better than, because the robots can't feel yet, right? Yeah. So I think it's going to be a hybrid world where, some of us are feeling chickens or interviewing candidates. The robots are slapping on the bread or doing the scheduling.
Robots also don't eat the sandwich, so they're not customers of the sandwiches. Layoffs. Some big ones this week. Some big names cut some heads recently. Intel let go of 15,000 people. Didn't they just get some taxpayer money to compete with Taiwan Semiconductor? Anyway, Match Group, the company behind Tinder, Match.com, OkCupid, and others, which, by the way, had downloads fall 12% globally, is cutting 6% of its staff, blaming TikTok, of all people. And industry stalwart iCIMS said goodbye to 69 of their associates, which equals about 5% of their workforce, if my math is correct. Chad, what are your thoughts on all this head cutting?
Yeah, I mean, Intel, when NVIDIA is printing money, Intel apparently is burning it. It's been outflanked and apparently rushed buggy product to market. I mean, if a CEO is going to chop that many heads, he's got to chop his own. I mean, it's all there is to it. So this is just ridiculous watching a CEO well up and say, "Oh, really hate to let this many people go." Well, you're the first one that should go. Give somebody else a fucking turn, for fuck's sake. Tinder. Wait a minute. They have live streaming services? They have live. I mean, were they trying to become OnlyFans? I mean, why the fuck would Tinder
doing, step bro?
Whomever signed off on that shit should definitely be gone. And then on the iCIMS front, I mean, major leadership changes: CEO, CPO, and CTO. And one of the things I've learned in being in any organization, from the U.S. Army to Ronstadt, is that whenever new leaders come in, they change shit. That's all there is to it. Sometimes there are moves. And from my understanding, rumor mill says EMEA is going to get hit in the next week or two. So this is, I think, just the start of the arranging of the furniture in the new iCIMS house, unfortunately.
I'm glad you said house and not Titanic. That would have been very, very foreboding. Jeez, that would have been very foreboding. $8.5 billion of government money went to Intel to build a company that was going to be world class and compete with the semiconductors in Taiwan. You mentioned NVIDIA. What in the hell is going on? There's going to be Senate hearings. There's got to be some accountability for that, because that is fucked up.
Orange jumpsuits, baby. Orange fucking jumpsuits
from the government and lay off 15,000 people without some explaining to do. So that's a major screw up. And we got some layoffs to talk about. Well, quick update. We talked about Career Builder Plus Monster. That's their official name now. Real creative. Career Builder Plus Monster. AIM Group is reporting that the layoffs hit about 200 employees, roughly 15% of the workforce. So that was sort of highlighted. And TopTal, a company that Chad says no one knows. So anyway, this might be news for you. Just the name of the company, the self-proclaimed world's largest fully remote workforce, has laid off a whopping 70% of its engineering team, affecting roles across software engineering, data science, and design in multiple countries like the U.S., Ukraine, and Poland. Chad, any thoughts on updates on layoffs?
Yeah, just a continuation of last week with Monster. That's not anything we should be surprised with. But I do have some insider knowledge that we were talking about whether they would have two databases, two types of tech, et cetera, et cetera. Nope. From my understanding, again, this is a rumor from the inside, they're going to go to one platform, one tech platform. And then they'll more than likely merge the candidate databases into that one search platform. So try to make it a big, bad Career Builder Plus monster. On the TopTal side of the house, it was funny because just literally last week, one of my friends was asking me about them because they were pretty much being dragged into conversations about prospectively being on the leadership team. And I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. They're so far behind the rest of the competition that's out there. It's just not worth it. It literally isn't worth it. And then this information comes out. I'm like, holy shit, talk about dodging a bullet. But a lot of this doesn't surprise me. We're going to see a lot of the smaller players who haven't evolved fast enough. They don't understand how to partner and build. They're going to get flushed down the toilet. And that's where it feels like TopTal's going.
Jumping back to technology real quickly, 2024, what were the tech trends that stood out to you? You do a lot of vendors, so I'm sure your take on this is pretty interesting. 2024.
Yeah, so this year it's been a lot of automation. AI has been the buzzword in everybody's tech platform. But I think getting to candidates faster, whether it be through your recruitment marketing efforts, getting higher quality candidates through automation, storytelling, and video, a lot of video platforms, and ambassadorship for existing employees to be amplifiers of the brand. So I think we've seen a lot of that this year, and it's really a circle back to maybe like 2016, 17, where that was sort of emerging. Now we're having a renaissance, technology is becoming better. But interestingly enough, I think we're going to see more of that. We're going to have to.
You touched a little bit about the marketplace, vendors, new products and services.
Yeah.
There are more companies that make it easier to build apps onto marketplaces. Just curious about your trends, what you're seeing, the amount of growth, any kind of cool technologies that you're seeing being built onto smart recruiters that we should pay attention to?
Yeah. There's actually some of the coolest and most interesting to smart recruiters are the people doing things that are workflows we know won't ever go away, but have just made that workflow a lot better and a lot cleaner for everyone else. So as a good example, we have a partner in the Netherlands that is essentially building a new agency portal. Who likes agency portals? Nobody likes agency. I have an agency portal. We haven't touched it as a product team in 10 years.
Wow.
But agency recruiting is just what happens, especially in certain markets. So we've got probably 40, 50, 60,000 agency hires that are made a year through our platform. These types of apps and experiences are things our customers latch on to immediately and provide impactful business value and also better learnings. I think some of those are the ones that are ultimately going to, benefit from this moment of consolidation in HR tech. Because someone like me, it's an easy value add. I can sunset my code from the past that I was never going to invest in anyway. I can give better experiences. I can drive better adoption. So in this case, this company was called. They were really cool thing. But there's a bunch of little ones like that. We're working on a lot of with a lot of partners that use design systems to embed in our UI. So Vizier's doing this with us right now. Hired Score is using some of our stuff to embed. So those people that are, again, not just saying to me, hey, I want an iframe in your UI, which isn't going to help anybody. I actually want to find a way to funnel my data to you through a user experience that people are going to engage with. I'm finding that they're getting the most attention from some of the big vendors.
So in 2024, what has surprised you the most?
The great stay.
The what?
The great stay.
The great stay.
Managers aren't leaving. And those that are lifers have already expired out in our side of the business. So the influx of retail that I'm seeing right now is about 85% to our lack of 15% of actual people that work in the restaurant industry. That was extraordinary to me.
Yes.
So we have to coach on how to read a resume from the bottom up now versus the top down.
So 2024, what has surprised you the most about this year thus far?
The emphasis on internal, activating your employer brand internally, and the need to partner and be in lockstep with your people success teams and your people operations teams. I really am going at this from, and this is very different from past organizations, where we're developing our internal roadshow together. Not here is the brand, I want you to deliver it. How can we activate this internally and making sure that it matches the employee experience? That to me is very different. So it's kind of a little bit of internal comms I'm playing here, but then also really relying on our, the people success team to help us, make sure that it's matching the promise.
So 2024, what surprised you the most this year? What's happened this year?
What surprised me the most, I think, is the false statement when AI started becoming big that some companies were like, we got AI, we don't need as many recruiters, we don't need this, we don't need that. And then it took I think just now they're starting to realize, that's not the truth. You still need, you might be able to make things quicker, a recruiter or sourcer might be able to handle a few more recs, but again, AI is not going to, at this point anyway, be able to replace it. And so what amazed me is that the companies were thinking that, given it seems like every 7 years something comes out and they think, oh wow, we don't need as many recruiters and sources now, and then they find out they're wrong. I mean, it seems like every 7 to 10 years that happens since I've been in the industry. Every 7 to 10, oh, we got sourcing tools now, we don't need as many recruiters, wrong. Oh, we got CRMs, we don't need as many recruiters, wrong. And that's what amazes me, is that companies continue to make the same mistake over and over and over again. You would think they would learned by now.
So we're coming into Q4.
Yes.
Right? What has surprised you thus far about 2024?
2024 has been very interesting. I think we've seen a lot of change within the traditional or more of the employer brand speak, right? We've seen a lot of companies pivoting from things that we placed an emphasis on during the COVID timeframe. So what's been surprising to me is how companies are starting to pivot and to be a little bit more authentic about who they are in their hiring experience.
Hospitality is the heart of our society. It brings people together to share great food, drinks, and experiences. But successfully managing a restaurant or hotel is no easy feat. That's where Harri comes in. Harri is the frontline employee experience platform that helps you build, manage, and engage great teams. With Harri, managers can easily find and hire top talent, manage timekeeping, and communicate with employees at any time from any place. Candidates and team members can quickly and efficiently apply for jobs, swap shifts, and access important information entirely from their mobile devices. And Harri's robust employee engagement tools make team members feel more connected than ever. With Harri, as an owner or operator, you get a bird's eye view of your business, from turnover cost, labor cost, employee sentiment, compliance risk, and team performance. Run your business better by understanding the power of your people. Because when your team is the heart of your business, Harri is the heartbeat. See how it transforms your business.
Looking toward 2025, what advice would you have for your peers moving into next year?
Don't be afraid to build a plane as you fly it. So I always like to think about things kind of from like a process standpoint. Like, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, right? So, and it's okay to fail, and find a safe space where you can do some trial and error and have some risks. So I think find a place that you can feel comfortable being yourself, and then also allowing yourself to fail fast.
So let's look forward real quick into 2025. What advice would you give your peers in the new year, moving into the new year?
Embrace technology.
Embrace technology. Do they have a choice?
Say more.
I think there are a lot of people still fighting it. Look for companies that have open API. I cold call a lot of open API companies. And I asked to beta test them and see if we can integrate their open API systems into the current system that we're utilizing, which is Paradox. I love LLMs. It's like my bestie. This
is your time.
This is my time. I'm a one-woman show.
Did you love them when they weren't cool or before they were cool?
I had to teach myself. So I was Python back in the early days of that. As did Professor Chuck taught me how to follow data. And I just kind of rolled with it. And I listened to your podcast. And any company that talks ill of another company, I'm absolutely 100% calling them. Because they obviously don't like them for a reason, and I will become their best friends. So we make sure we integrate that too.
Moving into 2025, what would that advice, that 1-point nugget of advice be?
Learn. Don't accept norms. Break out of the boundaries. Don't just do the simple and easy, because guess what? Everybody's doing the simple and easy. And you're looking for the same people, and why? Get out of it. And I can give an example. Somebody was looking for a bunch of people that has a particular certification. They went to LinkedIn, or as Stevie Levy calls it, the Blue Devil. Didn't work out so well, asked for help. So I went out and found a website that has a listing of every CCIE certified person and sent it to her. And then I scraped it and sent her the whole list. Don't do the norm. Think out of the box. That's the only way you're going to succeed. great, there's AI, we'll get into that later, but you can't trust it totally, so you have to use it, double check it, triple check it, and then you're good.